Earlier this month, we had talked about some issues such as mindset, how it's important to have a very strong and passionate mindset about your business. We talked about self-esteem and the role of self-esteem in your life and also in your business life, and how to have a positive sense of self-esteem. And today we're going to focus a little bit on the external side, which is your dress, the way you dress, the way you project yourself, and also your makeup, your hair and makeup. And that's for male as well as females. So I'm so excited today. We have two fabulous experts that are going to share with us, international experts. We have Nashly Mathews, an international wardrobe and stylist consultant. She's working for one of the biggest brands, fashion department stores in Canada. And we also have Alina, who is a celebrity makeup artist from Korea originally. And as you know, the Koreans really know quite a lot about beauty. One of the top brands are actually Korean brands in beauty brands. So just to structure a little bit of the context for tonight, it is a little bit more of a casual night. I know that, you know, things have been quite heavy and quite stressful with COVID. And tonight we're hoping that it's going to be a little bit more lighthearted. So if you don't already have one, get yourself a cup of tea or a glass of wine and really enjoy what we're about to discuss together. So I shared with you a little bit of background about why we're doing the event. We're going to introduce Nashly Mathews, and she'll be sharing her story on how she kind of discovered the importance of beauty and the importance of wardrobe. We're going to talk about the power of beauty and how beauty really affects self-esteem. And that will be from Alina. Then, ladies and gentlemen, you might notice that I have almost no makeup on. I'm going to do a 10-minute makeover for you. So you'll see me, you know, no makeup, and then I'm going to do like literally 6 minutes, and you'll see a complete transformation of how powerful makeup can be. And I'm going to do a demo for you. And Alina's then going to share with us a little bit about beauty in history. What's the historical context? Why, you know, where does beauty come from? And why are we not really making the most use of color? A lot of this is about colors, use of colors and patterns. Historically, only kings and queens were allowed to use color, but now color is available to everyone. And then we're going to talk about societal norms, which is with Alina and Nashly together. Really, what is the modern way of looking at the way that we package ourselves, the way that we dress, and you know, what are some of the new rules of how to present ourselves in public, especially since personal branding is becoming more and more important now. Personal branding is actually 4 times more important than company brands. So if you take a look at the Axia YouTube page, we did a session which is on personal branding and why, if you are a business owner or looking to start a business or a senior executive, your personal brand and the way that people perceive you in the public is getting more and more important, even more so possibly than your company brand. Okay, so with that, I'm going to pass it over to Nashly, and she's going to share her story. And we'll have about 10 minutes afterwards for a Q&A. Okay, I'm going to pass it now.
Yeah. Thanks. So good evening, everybody. I don't know about you, but I was excited to join tonight. I made myself a little cocktail and I got all ready, and it was actually really fun. And I'm really looking forward to telling you a little bit about myself, only from the aspect of how it relates for me, how I relate to beauty. So I have to tell you, I'm a girl raised in the South. So I'm just a Southern girl raised in the South. And one aspect of course, parents have a great influence on you, but particularly when it comes to beauty, the surprising part of that is, of course, your mother does. But in this case, my father really did. And I want to tell you a little bit about why, because I think it relates to what we're going to talk about today. And so I go back to a time when I was in high school and I used to get dressed and like throw on a sweatshirt and go down for class. And I would be like, so, you know, just like ready to go to school. My father would say, are you going like that today? And I'd be like, yeah. And he's like, how do you feel? And I'd be like, yeah, I'm tired, you know, I don't really feel like going. He's like, why don't you go upstairs and like take a look in the mirror and tell me how you feel? How are you dressed? How is what you're portraying on the outside really show what you're prepared to do? Are you really prepared for success today? And I remember going upstairs and thinking, oh, well, I don't know, you know, I just want to look like everybody else, you know? But he go, put some lip gloss on, put that mascara on. So I'd put a little lipstick on, I'd put a little mascara, and maybe I'd look back and he says, and put something on that like flatters you, you know, flatters your figure. And so I'd get dressed and I'd come back down and, you know, sure enough, I'd feel a lot better. You know, I looked better and I felt better. I'd go to school tired, yawning, and somebody would say, hey, you look really nice today. I'd say, oh, wow, thanks. You know, by, you know, your first class, you're feeling like a rock star. So that was ingrained in me at a very young age to look my best by my parents. And it wasn't out of vanity. It was more out of, you want to be successful now, so you got to dress successful. You got to let that outward, that inner, what you desire inside come onto the outside. So that's how I relate to beauty. And when I started doing wardrobe consultations, the biggest thing I saw was that women weren't relating to beauty that way. They were relating in other ways, which we'll talk about pretty soon, but they were relating in more of living up to a standard of someone else or comparing themselves to someone else. And I never had that option. It wasn't ingrained in me as a child, so I didn't have it. But what I did realize is that a lot of women around me did. A lot of women around me, whether it was a sibling or just somebody that they saw, or maybe the cultural images that we live in that we're kind of inundated with as to what is beautiful. That was really what was affecting the way the women I worked with and the way I started talking about a wardrobe really affected them. And so I made it my mission as I met with women to really get to the heart of them realizing that their inner beauty shines through their outward beauty, and your outward display is about confidence. And so having that attachment to beauty really helps you kind of fall in love with it and have a little bit of fun. And I really think I've seen that with my clients, and we'll share a little bit more about it tonight as we get started.
Thanks, Nashly. Thank you so much for that. We're going to go on now to Alina, and Alina is going to share with us a little bit about the power of beauty and really the power of makeup, how it can really transform your self-esteem and also society's historical relationship with makeup and the issue of what she refers to as color freedom. And I'm going to pass it over to Alina now.
Hello, how are you? Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, in Canada, entire country is locked down. So today is a Friday, so I would say TGIF, but we forgot what is today. So we normally say, what is today? What day is it today? That's our greeting. It's so interesting. And then how I started my makeup history. Today I just remembered why I came to Canada. I used to work as a makeup artist and a stylist for the celebrities, and then probably Margaret mentioned about the YouTube. So my YouTube, so what the Wanson Kim, she is a famous singer. I worked for her, and then she created one group. And then have you heard about the BTA? The Korean K-pop, one of the famous one is BTA.
Yeah.
So BTA, actually, Mr. Bang created their groups, and then actually he wasn't famous, but the Wanson created one group, and then we got all songs from them, but we chose wrong the front songs, and then we failured. So it's so funny what we choose, our destiny will be changing. I'd like to say everybody is beautiful. So we are beautiful. Why we needed to make up? Why we needed to enhance ourselves? So the reason behind is that is we're all beautiful, but social media developed a general beauty standard. So if you don't reach that standard, nobody thinks you are beautiful. That's a very essential. So for instance, I'd like to brings one example. So Cleopatra was a really surpassing beauty in 2,000 years ago. But if we restructured her face now, nobody thinks that she is so beautiful. So I started with the K-pop's BTA's Destiny, same things. How we gonna do, even though we all beautiful, how we connected the social media's general beauty standard, how we adapted, that's a very important key. That's why we need makeup skills or how to creating your wardrobe. That's the power of beauty. So if I say the Cleopatra, some people might say, who is a Cleopatra, right? Well, let's say another example. Let's say Angelina Jolie. When she started her acting career, people thought that her lip was so weird, so big. But now, not everybody, but once you go to the plastic surgery clinic, what they ask, I want to have an Angelina Jolie's lips. She is so popular and then general standard. And then look at the Kim Kardashian. When she started to use lots of contouring, highlighting, what people said, that's weird. That's the theater makeup. Why she doesn't do that? But now everybody adapted. So not only just your true beauty, we need to adapt the social media, the general beauty standard. Of course, you need a little bit of skills, but definitely that is one reason we needed to do makeup. And then that's the beauty of power. And then what else we can say? Have you heard about the life expectancy? So funny thing is the 17th century, people's life expectancy is only 45 years old. But now, 2020, people's, I wouldn't say just everybody is 78 years old, but it depends on country. But generally, we say the life length is average 78 years old. So we need to live longer. We need to work longer, and then also the competitors path becomes more bigger and then deeper. Let's just say, did you remember who was this year's Grammys winners? Her name is Billie Eilish. Do you know how old she is? She's 18 years old. Unbelievable. She selected among the so famous experienced singers. And then look at her look. Of course, she wears Gucci's, but if 20 years ago, when she wore those clothing for the accepted winners' cups, people may laugh, right? This is not general, shows how to celebrate her winning. So here we are changing a lot of beauty standard. Also, life length becomes much longer, which means our competitors becomes more bigger and wider. So what we needed to do, becomes more youthful and then also energetic and then healthy. That's what the very essential requirement. So because of these two reasons behind, we need to use the makeup skills.
Can I just ask Alina?
Yes.
And I'm going to ask Victoria to maybe put the camera on myself. I'm going to start my 5-minute makeover right now.
Okay.
And Alina, could you share a little bit with us about the concept of color freedom and why women seem to have challenges using color? Why are women afraid to use color? Why are they wearing black all the time? Can you share this concept about color freedom? And I'm going to start my 5-minute makeover now. Okay.
Okay, you need the moistures very well. That's what. So makeup, about the makeup. So whenever I met a lot of clients, they don't want to wear the colors. Oh, I'm not the color person. I don't want to wear. So generally we can say we are shy. Also, your occupation require very conservative society. I met a lot of law industry or financial district people. They don't want to wear the lots of color. Very conservative. They don't want to stand out. Is that's what the way keep their harmonies? But that is about, I'm sure that's because of people creating a little bit being shyness. But I want to say, if you want, that's I just talked about why we needed to use the makeup, and you understand the social, general beauty standards, and then also as a life lengthen expectation with the causes the more deeper competitors. But if we use the 5 keyword, how are we gonna enhance ourselves? We would say 5 words. Is first is gonna be luminosity. So now Margaret used the primer. That's we give a dewy and glow primer, right? And then if you think of my skin is something wrong, what is going on because of your uneven skin tone, discoloration? So that's why people used foundation and concealer even out. And then, well, when during the with aging, what happened was losing your contour. So how are we gonna bring back to our contour? Is it give some definition on your face? That's why Margaret using contouring now, right? And then skin becomes more thinner. So what happened is more creating the sagginess. How are we gonna bring back the volume, right? Volumizing. That's why Angelina Jolie's lips became so popular. And but not only that, the 5th word, I want to say vitality. What is vitality? So did you remember after finishing World War II, a lot of our grandmas rushed to get the lipstick. That's after World War. Is the lipsticks selling number was become so high? Why is that? That is a reason of color. Color gives your look is alive and vibrant. That's color is very essential. Margaret, you're doing very well. Looks so good. So that's a color. But this is very important. But did you know certain time period human being didn't have a freedom to use the color? So a lot of a country didn't have enough color. Probably pigmentation would be very expensive and then very hard to get the sources. That's what I assumed. That's why people couldn't use the color. Such as in Korea, ordinary people only could wear the white color. In Japan, only black color ordinary people could wear. And then if you, in Japan, have you ever visited Japan? Their ancestor religion is a shrine. So Shinto, they call the Shinto. So if you go to the Tokyo, everybody visited the Meiji Jingu. If you passed there, you could see the couple of monks. But if you look through the detailing, is each monk has a very different color. Clothing color is very different. So the little of monks can wear the purple color. Other people cannot wear it. So color shows your class. Same as in Korea. Joseon Dynasty started around 11th century to the 19th century. So nobody could wear the gold color. So forbidden color was gold. So now everybody can wear the gold or silver, whatever. So if you the color things, So four season color theme, always a warm color is we bring to the gold color, but surprisingly, only 100 years ago in Korea, nobody could wear the gold color. That is the signal of the king. Only king could wear the gold color. So now we are here. We finally, only the less than 100 years, we have a freedom to use the color. So why we cannot use the color, right? Looks so amazing. So here we are. Margaret is a good example. She just put the lipstick. And then what happened? We don't see we couldn't see the detail of contour and highlight, but once she put the lipstick, immediately she looks very alive and vibrant and healthy. This is the power of color. We are talking of the power of makeup, but we need to talk about the power of color. So don't be afraid to use color. This will give make you very confident. Today's two words to being confident is using the makeup, enhance yourself. Of course, you very beautiful woman, but just adapted a little bit the society beauty standard, and then also we want to make you look younger and youthful and healthier. That was color will give you that effect.
And I'm just going to ask Victoria to share the before and after right now, with and without makeup, because I know that a lot of women say, you know, we're so busy, we have children or we work a lot, and we just don't have time to dress up and we don't have time to make up. So you saw, I literally took 6 minutes to do all of my makeup. So I'm just going to ask Victoria to share the before and after screen. And I'm going to ask Alina, can you tell us a little bit about men? What have you seen in terms of men's trends with medical, cosmetics, makeup, and even clothing? Can you share your experience with men?
So as you mentioned, Margaret, men used to, if you go to the, what was it the general color? People wear always a suit, right? Even though for your work, you're the professional society, or you're the social gathering, what they use, they were wearing always suits, and mostly the color is black or navy blue or royal blue, right? Did you remember that? But now men wants to more use the adapted variety color, and then not only, and then we have a casual day too. And the man's face piece is oh, so women always use the makeup and the men didn't use it. Am I right? That's what people's question. But surprisingly, a lot of men use the foundation and concealer, because as I mentioned, discoloration makes you more ageless look. So what is ageless look? That is even out your skin tone. Men is again, men and women doesn't matter. We are equal, neutral gender period now. So everybody wanted to go to the competition society. So we want, wow, Margaret, you look so amazing. So you can see her face line, and then the expression line is camouflaged by foundation and colors. That's what we needed to the makeup. And then obviously people think that this is so useful. Men are the same things. They want to look, even out, to brighten up their skin complexion. That's what they can get. And then also volume. I used the word volume. Volumize your face textures, becomes more youthful. That's why a lot of men come for the concealer. The Botox, and then also they want the fillers under the eye area. Here is more the hollow area, right? That's what they use the filler, and then baseline they lift here. That's what the men think they don't do anything, but actually they don't wear. They don't wear the color so much, but definitely they use the foundation and concealer, and then a little bit helping from the non-surgical treatment. They might do the surgical treatment as well, facelift. A lot of men get the facelift surgery as well. This is the way people, without any education, people just sense it. We need enhancing ourselves, and then we can go back to the society. Does it make sense to you, everybody?
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you, Alina. I'm going to pass it over now to Nashly. And Nashly, could you share a little bit more about the transitions and also how to avoid comparison? Any like negative perceptions and how perceptions and packaging really impact our life?
Sure. So, you know, I loved the tips, and you did your makeup fabulous in 6 minutes, which I think is great. I have to say, I have it down to like 5 minutes or less. It's how to get ready in 25 minutes. So I really like that. Having said that, I think there's a bigger, like always a bigger topic to talk about. And I see it often when I'm doing consultations for wardrobing or for styling and overall beauty. And those things come into line when people start talking about like what makes you not want to do it. So some of those things are like we all as women and men have transitions in our life, whether we go from home, we go to from school to work, and that's a huge transition in our lives, and all of a sudden we need the right workwear. The whole perception that we were given when we were at school is different than when we are at work now. We have life changes when we add children into the mix, or we add family to the mix. If we travel abroad, if we live in the culture that we're used to. And so all of these types of things begin to kind of throw us for a loop, like anything does, right? Just like if you change a home and you're in a new home and then you're kind of like, don't know your routine. So that happens with beauty as well. So a lot of women I hear tell me, and I can't count how many clients tell me, well, you know, I went from, I was really stylish when I was young, and then I got this job, and then I had kids, and then I took a mat leave, and then I went back to work, and now I'm in a senior position, and I just can't think, you know, I just don't have time. And so all of these different transitions play into kind of having us to stop and reevaluate ourselves. But the thing about it is we all know we're on a time crunch. We don't have time to do that. So, you know, COVID, that's why I loved this conversation right now during this kind of time, is because to find that silver lining in that cloud is to say, well, you know what, right now I might have a little bit of time to really sit down and look at where I'm at and where I'm going, where I want to be, and begin to kind of transition myself into that position and start defining it. The other thing you hear about are kind of like the more negative connotations about beauty, and as much as you can love, like as much as some women just love beauty, like I can spend a day looking at lipsticks with my mom and pretty much have the time of my life. Not everyone feels that way about looking at a tube of lipstick, and clothes are even more heightened, I sometimes feel. So what are those connotations about? Well, some of those connotations, negative connotations, are about maybe I'm not, you know, as you used to say, Alina, maybe I'm not what I used to be. So all of a sudden I am starting to see that my cheeks aren't as full, or something's going on with my body image, or things like that are coming into play. Or maybe what I see is what is beautiful. Like if I see Angela Jolie, there's such a wide variety from the reality I see in the mirror to what I see on TV and in the movies that I'm like, why bother? I'm never going to get there. So the beautiful thing about this is that when you start breaking those things down and realizing that they're kind of back there in your subconscious, you may not even be thinking about them, but they're present, and you kind of, you know, realize them and work through them, that's when the real success is going to come. Because again, that's when you're not comparing yourself. We call it upward comparison when we're looking, like if I look at an 18-year-old model and I think, well, I should look like that, and if I don't look like that, then there's no point in me trying. When we start breaking those things down and like saying to ourselves, stop, wait, that's not why I'm getting dressed. That's not why I'm choosing to put a beautiful lipstick on, or I'm choosing to do what I do. I'm choosing to do that because I want to look my best, and I want to feel my best, and I want my perception to be who I am inside to come out. And if that's why I'm doing it, then all of a sudden those negative connotations can kind of like go to the wayside. And I used to say to women, like I used to do this exercise where I would make women close their eyes, and like I'd say, okay, ladies, have at it. Think of all the negative things you want to think of right now. as soon as I say the word beauty, or as soon as I say the word denim, or as soon as I say the word business suit. And I want you to think of all those things negative, and I want you to put them to the side and open up to a new reality where you really can embrace beauty and accept who you are in the exact stage of where you're at, and then outline a plan for you to have the perception and the style that you want. So I think, you know, that's a bigger picture that we can start breaking down in order to kind of get that perception out there, Margaret.
And Nashly, I love the story that you shared about, you know, for those of us who need an extra push. And, you know, I used to be that woman. I used to be, you know, the woman who was wearing the black suit with the black shoes. And, you know, and I didn't even wear lipstick. This is back in my 20s and 30s. So the Margaret that you see now is very different from my earlier days. I did not have the self-esteem to wear color before. Could you share with us the story about the chocolate cake? I love that analogy, and how, you know, during COVID, a lot of people are starting to think about, how can I really maximize my level of success? If I'm wanting to get a promotion, or if I'm wanting to start a new company, how can I really maximize my chances of success? Could you share that story of the chocolate cake?
I love the chocolate cake story, because unfortunately during COVID, I've eaten a lot of chocolate cake. I don't know about you guys, but I have for sure. You know what? I always give this because it's just so simple. But when we look at, if I go to a bakery to buy a chocolate cake, which, ladies, I have to admit that that's my weakness, is chocolate cake. And I walk in and there is a simple chocolate cake with like nice, clean frosting on it. It looks nice. Honestly, it looks great. I'm looking at the bakery. I know it's my bakery, so I know it's good. Beside it is another chocolate cake. And on that top of that chocolate cake is a little bit of chocolate ganache, a little mousse, maybe even a little scores, you know, little score bars. And I see that cake, and all of a sudden I'm completely identifying that that cake has got some richness in it, right? It's got something special. It's not plain. There's nothing dull about that cake. It's got something in it. And I'm making an immediate reaction to check that one out. Now, I could find out that the simple cake beside it is 10 times better. But I don't know that from just the view. And you guys know we live in a culture where we're making like fast impressions. We're making them really fast. We're meeting someone for the first time and we're having to shake their hand. And in that moment that you have a sales meeting or a presentation with the board of directors, or you're going for another job and you're trying to create the perception of that brand, you've got that first 20 seconds to make that impression. You have the first 20 seconds to present your chocolate cake. And so I really say that to you because it's such a simple analogy of how fast I chose that cake and how fast people can come up with that. Now, is that fair in the world we live in? No, I'd love to say that everybody should take the time to get to know you and dig deep into you. But like, let's face it, we do live in a very fast-paced environment. And let's face it, if you own a company or you're hiring somebody bringing into your company, you do want to know that the immediate brand reaction is going to relate to the brand you have. And so, you know, I have women who are in finance. I have women in marketing. I have women in astrophysicists, you know, women of all spectrum of the corporate world. And no matter what spectrum you're in or what area you're in, you have a perception that you want to give. And I always say, you dress for where you want to be, not for where you are right now. So, you know, oftentimes I'll say that to the girls that work for me all the time. Oftentimes I'm looking at like, what do I want to be? That's what I want to dress like. That's what I want to dress like, because I want people to see that that's where I want to be. And so I really encourage you to, like, it does take to stop and take a little bit of reflection on where you want to be and where you're going, and start to match that in your wardrobe, in your beauty routine, and in the way you, in your outward beauty as a whole. And it is as a whole, right? It's all about the care we take from the top of our heads to the bottom of our toes. I don't know about you guys, but those who have lacked a pedicure in the last 6 weeks might say, I just need a pedicure, and that would make me feel better, right? So I really, I think that's a very key element in breaking it down to understanding where that image and where that value of image comes from, and where that associates with beauty becomes vitally important to your careers.
And just another quick question here for Nashly. If you were, there was a lady in front of you and she said, Nashly, it's easy for you to say because you're skinny or you're a size, 0, size 2, size 4, but I have these big hips and, I am, a little bit overweight and, I'm a little bit, more mature in my age. Or even for the men, that I may not have the build or I may not have the look. What would you say to that in terms of, I guess beauty comes in so many different forms. It's just really the appeal of wanting to get to know that inner beauty of that person. What would you say to someone like that?
Yeah, well, I think I say it a lot every day, and to men and women, guys, because women, first of all, women, we know we can go and admit that we've got something we don't like about ourselves, like it's something that happened to us when we were young, and I don't know, we messed up a whole the whole generations of women, and us like microscopically looking at ourselves and looking at the way we feel about ourselves. But men do the same thing. Men take themselves, men are hard on themselves as well. So what I say is that, again, this is not a comparison. This is putting what my dad used to say, I hate to say, go back to him, he's doing a cameo in the background, I just started laughing about that, but it's putting your best foot forward. And that is accepting who you are and accepting that you are a beautiful person, and that the most important thing is trying to find, what I call like that inner person of who you are. We go to work sometimes and we kind of put a uniform on. We put a uniform on to fit that perception. We put a uniform on for what we're doing. But to add to that uniform, we need to have that hint of that inner style, that inner beauty, something that kind of brings it out in us, brings out who we are. Color, to Alina's point, does that very well. For men, it might be splashing one of his favorite colors on his tie. It might be for women putting on that lipstick. It might be for women wearing, who are in like marketing field, putting something quirky on that represents that inner artist that they were at one time. It is not about evaluating your beauty. Is not about comparing your beauty or evaluating your beauty. It's a judgment-free zone. And I mean, what's funny about that is, even as I say it, I realize we live in a society that takes beauty and immediately equates it with judging. But I really want to encourage you not to look at beauty that way, but to look at beauty as a way to dig into your inner style and your inner self and bring something out that is purely beautiful. And I think that really kind of, you have to sit there, you got to break it down. I'm not naive. It's not going to happen in one day. You're not going to have a body image problem or a self-esteem problem, and you wake up one day and you say, okay, I'm convinced I'm beautiful. I'm just going to go out there and be beautiful. I do believe it takes a little bit of time. It takes a little bit of discipline. It takes discipline to control your thoughts and to say to yourself and remind yourself of why you're getting dressed in the morning. What is my aim? I meet brilliant, brilliant women. I mean, sometimes I'm like sitting looking at them thinking, oh my gosh, if I had half of the brain you have, it's like amazingly brilliant women. And they're beautiful on the outside. They're beautiful on the outside. And they can get hung up on one thing. And that one thing can mess them up so much so that they don't move forward. So, some helpful tips for that for men and women is, you guys, when you go through your closet and you're starting to identify, this is the perception I want, this is the style I want, look into your closet. And if you see something in your closet that sends you back and says, oh, this is what I hear all the time, by the way, oh, I kept that dress because I used to be a perfect size 2. Now I'm a size 14, and I just like to pull it out sometimes and remind myself, are you kidding me? Look at that dress. Get rid of it. You don't need that dress in there. You are who you are now. We're not looking at, and then I say, well, when did you wear that dress? And they say, oh, 35 years ago. I'm like, 35 years ago? Like, look how much has changed in 35 years. You're living so far in the past. It doesn't relate to the here and now. Look at what you've accomplished. Maybe you've been a mother. Maybe you've made it to a senior vice president role. Maybe you've accomplished all of these things, and you're still looking at that maid of honor dress that you wore when you were 22. So, like, here are the things. Get those things out of your closet immediately. Let your closet reflect where you're going, not where you've been, because that's the key to getting past those negative connotations and accepting who you are in the now.
That's fantastic. Thank you so much, Nashly. And I do know that, you know, I guess when we started working, you know, 20, 25 years, 27 years ago, I felt like the standard, or the, you know, the bar was not as high as it is right now. You know, back then, if you had a college degree and you could, you know, speak English and a few other languages and, you know, a few other certificates, it was quite easy to get a job. But nowadays the standard is quite high. You need to, you know, do sports like an Olympic athlete. You need to speak like 4 languages. You need software certification skills with all the new, you know, leading edge software skills. And you need to look like a rock star. You need to look gorgeous all the time. And you need to, you know, public speaking, everything. So it just seems like the standard is quite high now. And I'd like to maybe refer back to what Alina said earlier about how societal norms and the standards are really changing now, where, you know, in the past, you know, the average person was only allowed to wear black. Nowadays, you know, anything is possible with the colors and the creativity and the innovation that is available to everyone in the world. So really the sky's the limit. So the primary aim of putting this webinar together was really to encourage both men and women who might be, you know, veering more on the conservative side, which is what I often see, is really to push yourself to maximize your beauty potential, or to look as great and feel as great as you could. And one of the things I noticed during COVID here is, and please, this is for Alina or Nashly, or, you know, anybody else who could share their comment, is I noticed that I've been dressing up and, you know, doing my makeup, even though I'm not meeting anyone. I'm just like with myself and the kids here. We do some conference calls, you know, overseas. But can you share why that is? Why do we feel better when we look, you know, I'm putting on my makeup for myself? Why is that? Who would like to start?
Alina, or me, or I'm happy to start that with, because you know, for me, it is psychological to get dressed for what I'm doing. And I think if you talk to a professional athlete, I think they would say the same thing. I think if you talk to a police officer or a fireman or a military person, they would say the same thing. When you began to put on what you know, your face, I like to call it my face, when I began to put on my face, or just take the time, 5 to 10 minutes even, to take care of my skin, or do something that acknowledges that, you know, I have to take care of my body. It sends a signal to myself that I'm caring about myself. I'm caring about my overall presentation, and all of a sudden I'm going to feel a little bit better. I don't know about you guys, if when you put on a moisturizer, even if you don't do the whole thing and you just put a really great moisturizer on that makes your skin feel good, all of a sudden that can actually change the perception that you have. The ability to communicate or the ability to express yourself effectively can play into that. I remember, because I remember getting sick, and as I would go to the doctor, I remember I would get dressed up to go to the doctor, and I would do that so I could drive well and get there. But then my doctor would say, why do you look so good today if you're so sick? And I'd say, because I was feeling so bad that I actually had to to make my outward appearance kind of feel better about myself to get to the doctor's appointment. So I think there's something to be said about the psychological effect of just looking in the mirror and feeling good about yourself. And whether that takes, for some it may take more makeup, for some it doesn't, it just takes a moisturizer, for some it takes putting on a really great outfit, for some it just takes putting on something that fits. But it really makes sense psychologically that it's going to make you feel better.
What do you think, Alina? Could you share your thoughts on why
Yes,
it's so true that look good, feel good?
So basically, human being loves beautiful things. Did you remember the story of the Narcissus? Narcissus was always obsessing about himself, and then one day he commits suicide, dumping into the pond, and then God came to the water, right? Water. Oh, so you must have missed the Narcissus, and then, oh, he disappeared. I do not know that. I just always see myself through his eye. That's what the narcissism is starting. So I'm not talking about the narcissism. My point is everybody loves to see the beautiful things. So especially yourself. If you look so beautiful, you're very satisfied, and then self-esteem increase a lot. I was talking about how we adopted society beauty. But the most important, this is for the year of working, but the most important thing is for yourself. You got to satisfy how you're beautiful. And then a lot of Asians, we talked about the dress. We don't have a very social engagement with the dressing up. So sometimes I wear the dress and then I post it on my Instagram or just other types of social media, and then a lot of Korean friends feedback is so beautiful. I want to have that dress, but I don't have anywhere to wear those dresses. This is that's why, and then I realized if you look at all of the award, the dress up, the TV Hollywood show, or the Cannes festivals. So all famous people or actors wear the so beautiful dress. But I wasn't thinking, it's very expensive, right? It's some of them accessories that's gorgeous, but it's very expensive. Some clothing, some shoes, perfect matching, amazingly styled. And then if I had the money, do I want to buy that one? I'd love to, but the answer was so interesting. I don't have anywhere to go, right? So we need to decorate ourselves for the work to match with the TPO time, place, and occasion. But without showing to anybody, you want to be beautiful by yourself. So even you don't have any place to go with that clothing, if you're so happy, you should wear. That is the best investment for yourself, is make yourself happy. That is a key words of the life in the world. And then, for example, I'm gonna tell you one story. One of my friends just celebrated her birthday, 47th birthday. She always loved to celebrate her birthday with the individually, not just the group friends. It's individually go out with the friends, and then to wear the beautiful clothing, to beautiful restaurants, and then talked about their life story, all kind of this. That's the way she celebrated her birthday. But because of the COVID-19 pandemic, she couldn't celebrate. She was so depressed. So what she did, she wore the all beautiful clothing and then including crowns, and then celebrated herself at her home, and then posted all pictures on her social media. I thought that was an amazing idea to celebrate, to enjoy himself, not to show the people, to show yourself. What makes you beautiful, you should know. Until you reach the certain ages, if you still don't know about who you are, what is the most make you beautiful and happy, I think we gotta find out. So we gotta put the bucket, that one gotta be on bucket list. That's my opinion.
Great, thank you. Thank you very much, Alina. I'm just going to open it up to Victoria now and ask Victoria to perhaps help us to do a little bit of moderation here.
Absolutely. Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for participating. I am getting some excellent feedback in the chat, and I would like to read out 3 questions. First is for Nashly.
Sure.
Is there a specific way to dress for a powerful position in business? Is the power suit a myth?
I don't think the power suit is a myth, but I think the power, matter of fact, this year was the year of the power suit before COVID happened. But I do think that that power suit can look different for a lot of different fields. So again, I go back to really, really working with people to identify what field you're in. So for example, someone in the finance field's power suit would look much different than a person who might be in a fashion-driven or a retail-driven environment. And it might be a little bit different than a person in the marketing PR environment. So the key to, do I love power suits? Absolutely. I love them, love them, love them. And I believe in having one, especially as you start to interviews. But I think the most important thing is you really take a careful look at the environment you're entering. Are you entering a boutique, niche, creative environment? Are you entering a corporate world? And let that power suit reflect you. So don't just think you're putting on that costume of a power suit. Something about that suit should reflect you, whether it's, I have a great friend that's a wonderful personal shopper, and she wanted to wear a power suit for a presentation. And she did buy one. And the beautiful thing about it is she went teal, and it's like teal, head to toe, stunning. Would I put anybody in that suit? No, but I would choose her for that because what she was representing was a fashion forward moment. That's what she wanted to exude. So I say the power suit's still in. Ladies, don't wear it to dress like men. That's a key. You're in a male-dominated environment for a lot of us, for a lot of corporate women, and don't let that be what drives you. I've had a lot of women say to me, well, I just want to look like the rest of them. No, there is something, there is a feminine quality. There are reasons why your attributes and what you bring to the table are important. So make sure that you allow those to shine through in your outfit, whether it's a power suit for an interview or a power suit for a presentation or whatever it is. Let there be a reason to why you're choosing that suit. Don't just choose it to blend in with everybody else. But the question is, the answer is definitely for sure. I love them. But I do think it's a myth that you have to have a suit. I think there's a lot of different outfits out there that can exude power and confidence. It just depends on your field.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Nashly. And this is a question for both of you, but maybe Alina, you can take this one. Why is there such a stigma for men taking care of themselves? We don't use the term beauty, but we like to look good still. What would you say, Alina?
Well, that is, I think, because of our genetic plus your family environment. But on top of it, we can be educated, right? So that stigma that can, by your effort, you can eliminate it so easily. That's my idea.
Great, thank you. Would you say, just to add on personally, would you say that there is an uptake, or it's more popular right now for men to take care of their skin especially?
Absolutely. A lot of men have a facial treatment, and they used a lot of, before they didn't use the moisturizer, but a lot of men wearing the moisturizer. That, and then some protection, definitely people use it. So it's, I think we totally the gender neutral society. Women use this beauty, men use this beauty. No, it's everybody wears. And then especially, again, I don't want to say this word, but very competitive. We are living in very competitive society. How are we gonna choose it? If you were just one of the flowers or you want to be just a little bit weed inside so people don't recognize, right? So as what the Nashly mentioned about the chocolate cake, if you don't put yourself properly, people don't recognize you're true in quality inside, right?
Quick question for Alina here is, if there are some people, men and women, who are interested to do like a little bit of home remedy to take care of their skin, could you just name like 2 or 3 tips they can do just to take care of their skin a little bit better? Something that's really easy.
People will expecting me mostly think about what is the best moisturizer or something, but I would say exfoliating. Exfoliating is the key for your skin remedy. And without exfoliating, even use your very good moisturizer, that moisturizer wouldn't be penetrated properly.
Sorry, for some of the people who don't know, could you define what is exfoliation? How do you do it?
Okay, exfoliation actually have 2 types. One is a liquid, one is a chemical. So mostly used, have you heard about the word AHA or BHA? So that is a that is make your skin is immediately rejuvenating your skin cells, so remove your dead skin. But still, even though you use that chemical, the debris left over on your skin. So what you need physically you removed. That's what you is a granules exfoliant. Exfoliant means removing your dead skin. So baby never do the exfoliant, but why people adult needs to exfoliate because of the rejuvenating skin cell cycle becomes a little slow down. That's one reason we have a dull skin look. So that's why exfoliant. You go to any stores, you can, if you ask exfoliant, if you see the AHA or BHA, that is chemically remove your dead skin, but still you need to remove physically the leftover debris through the granules exfoliant. Okay. You can feel the beads. It looks like a liquid cleanser, but actually has a beads on it. That's what we call the exfoliant.
Great, thank you. Thank you very much, Alina. How are we doing on questions here, Victoria? Anything else for today?
I just have 2 more, and this one is for Nashly. So what is your view or your idea of a uniform or a capsule wardrobe, and how simplicity can also be beautiful?
Yeah, I gotta be honest, less is more for me in that capsule wardrobe for a number of reasons. One, because most of the time with my professional women, my corporate women, life is really, really busy. If you complicate it with too many pieces, then all of a sudden it begins to cause some issues in the morning. So what we love to do is keep that wardrobe tight and simple. Simple doesn't always mean plain. I know people always say sometimes simple. I don't mean that it necessarily has to be plain, but what I do mean is that you've kind of taken a look at what you have, and it all should interrelate. So I always say nothing goes in your closet unless it matches 2 to 3 items in your closet, so that you can create different looks with this few simple pieces. I like to suggest to clients to keep their wardrobe capsule in a space just for work. So, hi, I'm getting up in the morning, I'm tired, I'm rushed, I have a lot on my mind about really important stuff. I just want to open my closet and have a sense of everything goes together, and I can pick and grab and pull. So in order to do that, the first suggestion I always have is, of course, obviously, like I said, clean out that stuff. It doesn't mean you have to get rid of it. For those hoarders out there, you can put it in another room, but you do need to have your working wardrobe just isolated by itself, so that it's that part. The second part of it is to know, kind of to evaluate the pieces that you have to make sure they all mix and match. So sometimes you're looking at, maybe you're selecting a few types of bottoms, and then you're making sure the tops and the jackets all kind of blend together and will mix and match, so that you can create different looks from a very simple wardrobe. You know, there's you can talk to fashion mavens, you can talk to CEOs, and everybody kind of begins to prescribe what their wardrobe capsule is. DVF, Diana von Furstenberg, used to say it was a wrap dress, and people have put different priorities on different things. The key is that every piece looks good on you, every piece fits, every piece is in excellent condition, and every piece reflects who you are and you love. So you should never have something in there that you say, well, I really, I never wear it. I just kind of have it there. Or I don't like the way that pant makes me feel. Like, that would be the wrong pant to have in your work wardrobe, right? Who wants to wear a pant that makes them feel fat all day? Nobody. So you want to make sure that every piece you have in that capsule is something that really reflects what you want to reflect and feels the way you want it to feel and has a sense of style that you want to display. And I think that's kind of in general, a big key to building that capsule wardrobe. And of course, we go into depth with women when we're working in their closet on how to achieve that. And with men in the closet, it's the same way. Men often, the work wardrobe for them is quite easy because they might result to suits in a corporate setting. But nowadays, men are being challenged. And I love seeing it because they're being challenged that the suit's not what they have to wear. And now they're having to explore more casual looks and how to create business casual looks. And then they need a capsule for that just to keep it simple for them and be able to explore a little bit of style. Men are coming into their style. Men are coming into new ways of wearing fashion. So it's important for them, even them, to build a capsule that works well for their workwear. And then you can have, like I would have a capsule for my workwear. I would have a capsule for my workout wear. You know what I'm saying? So it just is, in a sense, what it's doing is kind of saying to yourself, I'm going to get stuff that kind of interrelates so I don't have to build everything from scratch.
That's amazing. Really, really good tips. Thanks, Nashly. Our last question could be for either of you. It looks like we have a manager in our midst because she says, right now, my entire team is proud of not getting out of their PJs or house clothes. They're not wearing any makeup, etc. And I feel weird about wanting to dress up for my Zoom video calls. How do I navigate this dynamic?
You dress up. I had to throw that one out. I'll let Alina speak to it too. But you definitely dress out. As a matter of fact, I work with managers every day and manage. I have a big team to manage. And I love it when they get dressed and feel good. And I think it makes everybody else feel good. For those who want to be in their pajamas one day, we actually had a pajama day, and I work for a very luxury retailer, and we even had a pajama day at our office. It was a limited staff coming in, and we just decided to have a little bit of fun doing it. But here's the deal. There's also different stresses that are coming into play, and we're also finding new ways to have a little bit of fun right now on our downtime. We actually sent pictures of elevated pajamas. So how can you elevate your pair of pajamas and be comfortable, but also kind of be stylish and have a little fun with that? So I think that's okay. The key is you're not dressing for anybody. Remember that reminder that you're going to put in your head every time you think of something that you're doing. You're not dressing for anybody. When I went to high school when I was young, everybody, I got made fun of for it. Why are you so dressed up today? And I would say, I'm dressed up for me today. You do have to take a stand, and I tell you, it inspires other people. You will find that people will begin to say, wow, you know what? I actually wanted to do that. I just didn't. And you feel good. You start exuding that energy and that enthusiasm for how you feel and how you look. And it is catching. People will catch on and probably join you.
Thank you. Would you say the same thing about if you were not a manager, if you were the employee and your entire team, including your manager, wasn't wearing makeup and wasn't getting dressed?
For sure. I was telling Margaret about a client that I had who came to me and said, I can't dress better than my manager. And I was like, I'm sorry. And she was like, well, you're making me look really good. And I was like, okay, well, that's kind of my job. And she said, no, but please don't make me look better than my boss. She's like, that could become a problem. And I was like, you can't live life like that. I said, you know what? You really have to go out there and be who you are. Again, let that little voice in your head tell you to trust yourself, be who you are, and represent yourself. So on any platform, that should be it. And, as that employee, I always look to that employee and I say, do you want to be in management? And they look at me and they say, yeah. And I'm saying, then dress for it. Do you want to be a VP? Dress for it.
Amazing. Thanks so much. I am mindful of the time, guys. Alina, do you have anything to add about that question?
Oh, perfect. That's a right answer. Yeah, I totally agree with Ashley. Yeah.
Okay, great. Well, that takes us to the end of our Q&A.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. So much fun.
Just before we end, I wanted to encourage all of you. Thank you. I've noticed a few faces coming back again and again. In case you are interested to get a little bit closer to us and you're really, loving this content, we do have the Spirit of Axia, which is going to be our monthly club for people who want to spend a little bit more time on themselves and also their business. We're going to be doing twice monthly calls, and you can get more information about that on axiastrategic.com. And you can just click the Spirit of Axia, where you'll be spending a little bit more time with me, Victoria, and the rest of our team. Okay, and now the information for Nashly is here. So please do contact Nashly and Alina for some personal consultations. I've been doing this for probably about 10 years now. So in terms of my makeup and wardrobe, I get that updated either every year or every 2 years. And basically they will come in, go through my entire wardrobe, clean everything out, and also maybe give me a new look for my hair and my makeup as well. So I firmly believe in consultants as well. I'm one of those women that do not like to spend a lot of time shopping or, on the way I look. And that's why I leave it to the professionals like Nashly and Alina to help me through my, my public persona. So ladies and gents, we are at the end of our session today. If you enjoyed this, please come back in 2 weeks' time. We're going to have a fabulous event with Danielle Batley. So many of you have been asking, what are some other skills that I could increase to, improve my chances of getting promoted or, making more money, or I'm thinking of starting a business. How can I increase my intuition and my other, abilities? And we're going to have a session with Danielle called spiritual marketing. Danielle's going to talk us through some of the different ways that we could do some visualizations, use some positive affirmations, and also some deep breathing techniques. This is something that I use myself whenever I'm under a lot of stress, either at work or with, at home with a family. These are all techniques that I use, and they're very, I'd say, highly specialized skills. So please join us with Danielle Batley in a couple of weeks. And all that information will be on the website as well. Before we go, I would love to leave you with a quote. And this is from Sam Levinson. For attractive lips, speak words of kindness. For lovely eyes, seek out the good in people. For a slim figure, share your food with the hungry. For beautiful hair, let a child run his fingers through it once a day. For poise, walk with the knowledge that you will never walk alone. We leave you a tradition with a future. The tender, loving care of human beings will never become obsolete. People, even more than things, have to be restored, renewed, and revived. We need to be reclaimed and redeemed. Never throw anybody out, and we continue to support each other. So with that, I'd like to thank you all for coming, and we'll see you again in a couple of weeks. Good night.
Good night. Sounds great.
Thank you.
Thank you.